Hello, welcome back to Cracking the Cryptic, and today we are looking at a 6x6 puzzle by Nurgle's Gift, which has been very popular on Logic Masters Germany and recommended. So I'm going to really get into that in a moment. Don't forget that you can engage with the channel in a multiplicity of ways. In the description field under the video, you can find your way to our Patreon, where there is so much going on lately. We publish a Sudoku hunt every month. July's being it's a 6x6 Sudoku pack, in fact, by Pause, and has proved very popular. In addition to that, there's some other content. We've had recently the 600,000 celebration pack for the remarkable number of our subscribers. We've had Rockrat Zero's 600k bang. We had Sandra Nala's spring-themed puzzle pack. We've had crossword videos. We've had Simon solving Sudoku videos. It's just a riot of entertainment over on Patreon. Do join us there for all the extra content. And if you like the puzzles and you just want more puzzles, the apps may be the place to go. We don't have a 6x6 app, but we do have a Thermo Sudoku app, and indeed what does this one have? A Domino app. This one, although there are no domino markings in the puzzle, there is a domino rule that will apply, apparently. So do check out the apps and Sven's SUDOKU PAD and our merchandise. But the first link is to this puzzle, No XV Thermo, by the great Nurgle's Gift, who we've featured a number of times on the channel before, and it's time to go through the rules. Normal 6x6 Sudoku rules apply. We're going to place 1 to 6 in every row, every column, and every 2x3 box. Now, here come the apparent contradiction rules. The cells connected by an X must sum to 10, and cells connected by a V must sum to 5. Now, you're wondering where the X's and V's are, but the next rule is that all X's and V's are given, so there are none of them, hence the title. And then the thermo rule, digits must increase from the bulb of the thermometer. So just 4.5 tiny little thermometers here. No X or V markings, therefore we have to avoid sums of 10 and 5 in dominoes like that. Give it a try. I'm going to start now. We'll see what we'll find. Let's get cracking. So there's so little to go on here. I'm wondering, do we have to think holistically? Now, the X sum is actually quite rare in a 6x6 Sudoku. I mean, there's probably most 6x6 Sudokus probably have 1 or 2, but they require 6 to be next to 4, which is reasonably easy to avoid, let's put it that way, if you were constructing the puzzle. Much less easy to avoid is having any V's, because that just requires 1 to be next to 4 or 2 to be next to 3. And I'm wondering, am I meant to think overall about how they work? Okay, I mean, I can see this cell can't be a 3 because the thermo would have to go 1, 2, 3. No, okay, my initial thoughts about maybe I have to think of a standard makeup of a box and it will turn out to be alternating odds and evens or something. Forget that. I think we have to look at the individual thermos. This can't be a 3 because if it was, this would have to be a 2, and 2 and 3 would be next to each other. So this can't be a 3 either. It's exactly the same. Oh, sorry, it's very obvious that 1 can be placed in the final column. It's very obvious to you guys. I've only just spotted it. 1 obviously can't be on any of these thermos if the bulb cell isn't there. So, okay, so 2 cannot be next to 3 in this column. And therefore, that's not a 2-3 pair, and one of them must be down here. So this cell is 1 or 2. And the other one is up here somewhere, but all I know about this pair now is that 4 can't be next to 6. Oh, okay, the other of 2 or 3 is in one of these cells. That means this bulb I don't know along which thermo, but it's running to it, and therefore this begins with 1 or 2, and now we have a pair here. And what good does that do me, you may wonder? And I don't know the answer. Yeah, I don't know on which branch here the 2 or 3 goes. So this 1 is not allowed to be next to a 4 in any position. So now I've got a 5-6 pair in the final column. That's very interesting. So these are from 2, 3, and 4, and one of them is a 4, and that's not allowed to be next to 1 either. So that can't be a 2, because then this would be the 4 in column 6, and that would be a 1 on the thermo. So that can't be a 2. But I think this one can be. 2 there, 1 there, puts a 4 here, and then 1 and 4 are widely separated. What's going on? Why can't I see something that I can then do here? 2 and 3 mustn't be next together. 1 and 4 mustn't be next together. 4 and 6. Now I mustn't forget that. They're not allowed to be next to each other. So if this was a 5, what would happen up here? That would be a 6. This would have to be the 4. This couldn't be a 2 anymore in that case, because it would be next to 3. Okay, so if this, where was I saying? If this was a 5, this is quite complicated suddenly. For a 6 by 6 with such simple rules, this is quite surprising. If this is a 5, that's a 6. 4 is there, and now this can't be 2, this must be 1. So if that's a 5, that's a 2, and that's a 3. I mean, it's a very surprising outcome, but I don't know if it's actually helpful. 2 is in one of these positions in box Jobby, box 4. And therefore 3 isn't in one of those positions because it would be next to 2. So 3 is in one of these positions, so those 2 can't be 3. Now we're trying to avoid 6, 4 up here as well. Or 4, 1 here. Oh, this is getting this is getting out of hand. No, this can't be a 4 because there's a 4 in one of those cells. So that is down to either 5 or 6. Now, if it was a 6, this would have to be a 3. And that would have to be a 2. Because of what we established earlier. If that's a 3, that's a 2, that's a 4. And this can't be 1. Oh, these are very complex interactions suddenly. This is weird. Right. Yeah, it was interesting seeing 2s and 3s in a little 2 by 2 there, because they mustn't touch. Okay, I'm going to try and extend that to 1s and 4s down here. They mustn't touch. So I think 1 can't be, well, 1 can't be in this cell because 4 would have to be in one of these. That's weird. Oh, and 4 can't be next to 6, right. If this was a 5, this is crazy. This works though, I think. If this was a 5, 4 and 6 would have to be in those cells to avoid it being next to each other. This is right, isn't it? Follow along with me. If this cell was a 5 on the end of this thermo, this would have to be 4 and 6. Now, where could 1 go? 1 would have to be next to 4 in some orientation, because 4 and 6 would be there. 1 would be here or here. You know, there are I want to say there are 8 possibilities for where 4 and 1 could be, but they all involve 4 touching 1 illegally. So that cannot be 5. Let me just check that. That's such a strange conclusion. If that was 5, 4 and 6 have to be here and here to avoid touching. And then 1 must be touching 4. Okay, that is not 5. That's 6. This is 5. Now, is that actually going to help? Because it's rather cunning. It's rather brilliant, but I don't know if it does help. Now, okay, I don't know. If that was 4, this can't be 1. If that was 4, this can't be 1. So in one of these pairs, we've got a 2-4 pair. I don't know, does this help? This puzzle's mad. Oh, this one can't, yeah, it's not trying to be next to anything it shouldn't be. Maybe I can do the same up here. No, I can't, because 2 of the band digits are going to be here. It's not a problem for 6. I suppose if that was 6, one of these is a 4. If this was 1, that's 4, definitely. Then you know that this is 2 and that's 3 on the thermo and that's 2. So if that's 1, that's 4, that's 2. This now has to be 5 to avoid being 6. And then you get a 6-3 pair here, which seems all right. I thought I was going to have broken through, and I really, really haven't. Oh, that's not a 6 now. That's just Sudoku. I haven't got a triple going on here, that or even a pair that I can't see. I don't think I have. This puzzle's already driving me mad. 3 has to be in one of those to avoid a 4-6 pair. We've definitely avoided a 4-6 pair here. I don't have to think about that anymore. Actually, we've also definitely avoided a 2-3 pair, so I can stop considering box 6 entirely. Here, though, 2 mustn't be next to 3, so they're diagonally opposite each other, and 4 and 6 are diagonally opposite each other. So what? Well, that will... Then there'll be nothing left to worry about in this box either. I may have to come over to this thermo. Let me just think about box 2 for a moment. Now this is tricky. Like, 2 there, puts 4 there, puts 1 there, puts 5 here. 3 here puts 4 here, but 4 here puts 2 here. It's so strange. I'm probably missing something there. 4, 2, 3 on this thermo would stop me having to worry about box 2 again at all. Right, I'm going over here. We've got that 6 actually, so this can't be more than 5. And I think it's the same as these other pointy thermos. It can't be a 3 because we'd have a 3-2 pair sitting next to each other. So that is just 4 or 5. I mean, that leaves 3 possibilities here and 3 here. But maybe I can do something with these. 6 now is in one of those cells, obviously, in box 5. 2 and 3 have to be kept apart, but I think as long as that's not a 1-4 pair, I think that's going to... Oh, 1 and 4 have to be kept apart as well. So if that was a 4, this would have to be 3 and 2. Because 1 and 4 have to be kept apart. Okay, that might be the interesting thing. If that's a 4, that's a 2. If that's a 5, though... So if this is a 1, this is a 5. I don't know what that does. Probably does something. I was so pleased with this deduction. It didn't do anything. Or am I missing something blatant? I probably am. If that's a 3, that's a 1. Oh, this cannot be a 3 because that wouldn't be allowed to be a 2 by the rule, it would be a 1, but that would be a 2 and that would have to be a 1 by thermo, so that can't be a 3. I don't think that's going to do anything though. Oh, one of these is now a 2, because if that's a 4, that's not allowed to be a 1, and otherwise this is a 2. So one of those is a 2. I mean, again, I don't know how that helps me. Oh, it's just spotting what is going on here. Two, 1, 4, 5. I've looked at that a few times. That leaves 3, 6 over here. That forces this to be a 3, 6 pair, which is really quite likely. Well, this can't be a 4, 6 pair, but it could be 3, 4 at the moment. Now, that was interesting that whichever one of these is a 3, I think that must have a 2 on its bulb. Because something goes wrong otherwise. Ah, in fact, if that was a 3, that would be 4 and that would be 2. No, that's okay. This would be 1 and that would be 2. So these are 1 apart. There does seem to be some interaction here. I can't quite see it. Okay, I'm going back across here again. See what I can spot here. It's probably going to be nothing because I've really looked at that. This little thermo, I suppose it's difficult for that to be 2. This would be 1. Oh, this could be huge actually. 2, 4, 3 there. And that would be 3. Ah! Right, that can't be right, I think. If this was 2, that would be 1 and that would be 2. This wouldn't be allowed to be 3 because it would be next to both 2s. So 3, oh no, that would be all right. 3 would be next to 1. 2 there makes that a 3, which makes that a 1. Yeah, I haven't really thought hard enough maybe about 3 having to be kept apart from 2 in these cells. They're always spaced 1 apart. Oh, and this can't be 1, 4 down here. So if that's a 4, this has to go 3, 2. Then that's a 3 and that's a 1. This is... No, I was... Is this ever a 6? That's... If that's a 6, this is a 3, 4 pair, and we've got 5 here. If that's a 6, this has to be 3. 2, 1, then you get a 2 here. 6, 3, 2, 4. I can't falsify it. There must be a way of progressing. This is surprising, this puzzle, in every way. 2 and 3 are diagonally opposite. 4 and 6 are diagonally opposite. But I don't know if one of these is a 4 or not. Right, a 1 here would definitely put a 4 here to avoid being next to it. And then this would be 2 or 3. Now that's quite interesting. So 1 here makes that 2 or 3. That forces this to be 4. Because 2 and 3 would otherwise be next to each other. Oh, in fact, if I could say that this cell was definitely 2 or 3, I'd be in business, because I could make this a 4 and that a 5, and that feels like it would do something. So if that's not 2 or 3, oh no, this can be 2 and 3 together. In fact, that's quite likely. I'm just missing something blindingly obvious now. That feels like mostly the situation that we're in. 1 and 4 mustn't go together. 4 and 1 mustn't go together here either. So if that's a 1, that's a 5, which doesn't really do anything for global unity. 2 is in one of these, 3 is in one of those. We established that a long time ago. 3 mustn't be next to 2 here. So somewhere here we go 1, 3, something, 2, either up or downwards. And the 1 on the outside can't be touching 4, but it wouldn't even try to up there at the top. So if it was here, 1, 3, something, 2, it would start with a 5, that would be a 6, that would be a 4. I'm looking at that little thermo as well and trying to piece that into this. The trouble is, it seems to go fine. It's so irritating. One there definitely would put 4 here. And 4 here as well. So that would definitely have 2 5s in these positions. I mean, I can see a lot of ramifications of this, but none of them are breaking. So 1 here, which definitely puts 2 there, 4 here, 5 there. I mean, that has huge consequences. Okay, here's something to think about. If that's a 1 and that's a 2, this bulb is 3, 4, or 5. This one is 4, 5, or 6. That's 2, that's 3, that's 6. This bulb would have to be 4, because it would see 6 and 5. Right, so if that's 1 and that's 2, this is definitely a 4 with a 3 on its bulb. No, is there something wrong with that? Come on, guys, what's happening here? 1 there definitely makes this a 3, 4 thermo. Oh, I mean, is this... Right, I think there are only 2 possibilities for this thermo then. Let's pencil them in, if that's the case. So a 1 here makes this a 2. That becomes 3, 4, or 5. In this situation, a 1 there makes this a 2. That's 3, 4, or 5. This is 4, 5, or 6. That pushes 2 down to here, which pushes 3 to here, and 6 to here. And that ends up having to be a 4. So that must be a 3. So if that's a 1, that's what we get. If this is a 2, then that's not a 3, that's a 3. And now this has to be a 2. And that bulb has to be a 1. So they are down to very few possibilities. 2 here would go with 3 there. 4 here would go with 6 there. Oh, this cannot... No, that's okay. Calm down, calm down. So if it's a 4 here, 6 there, 3 here, 2 here. If it's a 2 here, 3 there. I don't know which way around 4 and 6 would go. but this is now 1 or 3. Now 1's not allowed to be next to 4, and 3's not allowed to be next to 2. Okay, I didn't think this was going to be a breakthrough, but I still thought it was worth exploring. And I'm not recanting on that particularly at the moment. 6 there makes that a 3. Then you get 4. I'm sure that gets resolved, but I haven't remembered how. Three, 4, 5. Yeah, that becomes a 1. I mean, it is quite a complicated chain. 6 there stops 4 here, so that becomes 3, which makes that 2 and that 1, and now that can't be 4. Oh, I suppose the other way of looking at that is 6 there means that's the only place for 5 in the column. Oh, and then that's the only place for 4 in the column. That must be. I mean, there's 2 paths left basically in this puzzle. One is right and one is wrong, and I don't understand how we're meant to find it out through logic. It's so. I'm so daft. If that's a 3, that's a 4. Now you have to avoid 2's in these positions. In fact, if that's a 3 and that's a 4, this couldn't be either of those digits or 5, which it sees. It couldn't be 1, because that would be next to 4, or 2, which would be next to... There'd be nothing for this cell, is that right? If this was a 3, 4... I was going to say lollipop, a 3, 4 thermo. This couldn't be either of that 3 or 4 or that 5. It wouldn't be allowed to be 1 because of being next to 4, or 6 because of being next to 4, and it wouldn't be allowed to be 2 because of being next to 3. A 3, 4 thermo kills this cell, which I haven't looked at once in this puzzle. That's insane. Oh, Nurgle's gift, if that is on the path. Wow, mind blown. That is brilliant. Right, now we're just going to finish off now, I reckon. Because everything falls out from that, doesn't it? You get this 3, so that's not a 2. 2, 4, 3 in the corner. That's 3 in the corner. That's 3 in the spotlight. Here we go. So I think it's just a matter of filling in the rest. I honestly do at this point, but we stand to be proved wrong on this. And it will serve me right if I am. I just think everything has such full ramifications now that avoiding 6's and 4's being together and 2's and 3's, yeah, 1 mustn't be next to 4. That is the other thing to avoid. Look, 2 books is done. 3 and 4 down here, and 4 can't be next to 1 again. So it's just as soon as you get that one breakthrough, just as I suspected, this kind of all falls into place. That can't be 2 next to 3, and that gets us into the left-hand side. 4 mustn't be next to either 1 or 6. Maybe that is the key point, that 4 is not allowed next to 1 or 6. Maybe I just didn't think hard enough about that. That's a naked 6. And then I can fill in 3 and 1. These are 3 and 6. Now I've got 2, 4, 5 triples. 2 is not allowed to be next to 3. So we've put in 2 there, and the same up here. There we go. And it is very straightforward in the end. That's taken me 26 minutes. And there were 2 fantastic steps in that. I literally love that last one. But also, what was the first one? The first one was about... Oh, it was about not putting 5 here because you couldn't make these Unmarked cells up. Oh, brilliant puzzle. Thank you, Nurgle's Gift. And thank you, the recommender, and the rest of you for watching. We'll see you soon on the channel. Bye for now.